Welcome everybody to my garden. I was going to do this bike review and ride review of Loch Ness 360 at Loch Ness, but I didn't have decent sound quality, so I had to bin off all the footage. So I thought I'd do it at home with a mic that I've recently bought, see how it goes. We might be joined by Maisie on occasion. Little puppy Maze, how you doing? Crazy dog? Here you go. Yes, I wanted to talk about the Loch Ness 360 route that I did recently. Hopefully you've seen the video for. This is a couple of days afterwards that I'm filming this, and just generally pass my thoughts on it. What I liked, what I didn't like, what worked, what didn't work. Highlights, lowlights, things like that. So starting with the route itself, 136 kilometers, mostly gravel, a few road sections, a little bit of hiker bike involved as well. I chose to do it over 3 days. That was riding half a day so I could spend the other half of the day with my family who weren't riding. But what was it, 7.5 hours, 8 hours I think I took total moving time. So 2 days comfortable, 1 day if you fancy a big day out, definitely doable. So the Loch Ness 360 route is made up of two trails, the Great Glen Way on the northern side and the South Loch Ness Trail on the southern edge. I chose to ride out of Inverness anti-clockwise, so did the Great Glen Way first. So once you get out of Inverness on the Great Glen Way, the trail is fantastic. The gravel is good quality, the trail is sweeping, great views, some wooded sections, fairly steep hiker bike climby sections, but I guess it is a footpath first and foremost. Particular highlights for me on the Great Glen Way include the Dreamcatcher Viewpoint. I didn't actually stop and film that, I rode past it fairly quickly. I think it's supposed to incorporate some Munros in a circular viewpoint thing, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. And the ferry bridge, the bridge over troubled waters, I'm not sure what it was, had like mushrooms on it made of wood. That was pretty cool, pretty interesting, broke up the day. Sort of trail section highlights, Drumnadrochit to Invermorriston, absolutely brilliant, loved it so much. I think in all honesty I was expecting probably more dramatic views from the Great Glen Way than I actually got. Some of the viewpoints from the trail obscured by trees, which I guess is not really an issue, but I was kind of expecting to see one huge breathtaking shot. I didn't really get that, but you get lots of little lovely shots instead and lovely views, and more than make up for it, I think. Almost immediately upon setting off, the delightful bike here started throwing its chain when I was in the small ring at the front. So every time I was climbing up any kind of gradient, it would be skipping and jumping. And when it skipped and jumped, it threw the chain off the front chainring, and then it jammed, and then it would bend a link. So I was just smashing through the quick links and the spare chains. I actually gave up on this bike for day 3 and just hired a mountain bike to finish off the route. Otherwise I was probably looking at a Loch Ness 270 more than a 360. Some of the more eagle-eyed amongst you in the video may have spotted actually what I've just set up here. Something's up with the rear derailleur. Like, I've put it in the big front ring and the big rear cassette, which obviously you shouldn't do anyway. But I found when I was recording, I was in that gear quite a bit. But looking at the derailleur at the bottom there, I don't think it's supposed to point forwards. So yeah, tell me your thoughts on what might be happening there. I'm actually taking it to the bike shop to look at what's causing this chain issue next week. So we'll see what they have to say. So the South Loch Ness Trail then, from Fort Augustus back to Inverness, that was mostly half of day 2 and day 3 for me. Like I say, it wasn't as epic as the Great Glen Way. The route takes you a bit away from Loch Ness actually, but you get to go around little tiny Loch Taff. Loved that bit. Great views along there, and the descent back down the other side towards Whitebridge, brilliant, so much fun. Absolutely loved that bit. I liked the waterfalls at Foyers as well, the Falls of Foyers. they were really magnificent, and only a small walk from the road, so minor detour, well worth going to have a look at. The road cyclist in me really enjoyed the corkscrew climb section. Although I was doing it on the mountain bike, I still like the switchback kind of climby effect. I love that. Reminded me of the Alps, like a mini Alps. So the low point for me would probably be day 3. I was already on the mountain bike by this stage, and the heavens opened. It was so wet, so wet. Filming was a nightmare, to the point where I just didn't bother adjusting the camera, getting camera angles or anything. I was just turning the camera on, cycle, get to the end, let's get this over and done with. It really was a depressing ride, and I think that maybe tarnished that section of the route for me, Foyers to Inverness. Don't get me wrong though, some sections were absolutely fantastic on the mountain bike. Some of the more tricky woodland descents were so much more fun on that bike than it would have been on this. But then conversely, some of the road sections and the more open gravel trail routes were a bit of a slog. I only had one little whoopsie. I was on the last day, that was on the mountain bike. You may have seen that in the video as well. I was actually riding the mountain bike with my shoes that were designed for these clip-on pedals, so they weren't gripping very well on the flat mountain bike pedals, and I'd already lost my glasses. I don't know where I'd lost those, on a hill somewhere. So I was getting mud in the face, pedals were slippery, and that's my reasoning. That's why I fell off. No other reason, not because I'm rubbish. In summary then, I will say the Loch Ness 360 was an absolutely fantastic route. Well worth the time to go around it. The views were great, the trails were great, the weather on the whole was great, apart from the last day. I'm glad I did it, glad I got that extra mountain bike to finish off. I would have been annoyed at myself had I not finished it. Yeah, some sections will ask questions of your fitness, no doubts, and there will be some sections you'll have to push the bike. But other than that, brilliant route, and highly recommend you go and ride it if you haven't ridden it already. So I thought the second part of the video I'll just tell you a bit about my bike here, talk you through some of the aspects of it that I use when I'm cycling. So at its base, it's a Trek Checkpoint AL from a couple of years ago now, pre-gravel train sets going on, so it's a Tiagra compact. I would say although it's a compact chain set, it's, well, up until last week it was absolutely bomb-proof. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. It's managed everything, albeit maybe slightly more tricky to get up some of the steeper hills, but got up them anyway. I think if I was to do anything else, I would get the GRX style drivetrain on it. I think the 2x at the front is probably a bit complicated for bouncy gravel work. The wheels are Bontrager Paradigm Comet 25s, and the tyres I've currently got fitted are Michelin Power Gravels 700 by 47 Cs. If I'm being totally honest with you, I reckon they're probably slightly too big for the bike. The gap between the rear tyre and the chainstay is wafer thin. Like, it's probably scratching and scraping away even though I have any kind of mud on it. But the tyres are amazing. Love them, they're so grippy. And you can run them, they're tubeless, so I can run them at fairly low pressure, and it's taken all the bumps and the stones with ease. I've normally been riding with a backpack on. I didn't use a backpack for this. I used a handlebar bag and a top tube bag and a saddle bag just to carry my mostly recording stuff and GoPro batteries. Because I was doing it over 3 days and I had my family there, I wasn't taking food with me and I didn't have to camp, so I could ride fairly light, and that seemed to work quite well. Just the standard water bottles, although I did manage to lose a water bottle. I don't know how I did that. So next steps then, take this bike to the bike shop, take it to people who know what could possibly be going wrong with this. I have a feeling it's because I've put these bigger tyres on. Generally when I try and do anything to my bike, I just make it worse. So get that into the shop next week, see what they say, see what needs to be done, what the potential solutions are, and then take it from there. So that basically rounds up what I wanted to say about the Loch Ness and my bike. Thank you for watching. I never really intended to be on the camera when I set this up. The original goal was just to have me sort of being the tripod for the camera, have it on my head filming. I think it's evolving from there now, so I'm moving to adjusting the camera angles. I've still only got one camera and one me, so it takes quite a while to change camera angles on the ride. Would love a drone. I think that would really enhance the cinematic qualities of the videos. I don't intend to sort of provide commentary while I'm riding. I still think I want to keep it very much showcasing the route and less about me or my bike. But we'll see how it goes, and I may do more of these kind of things, talking to the camera. I may not. Depends how I get on with that, I guess. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for watching the Loch Ness video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think could be wrong with this bike. See you next time. Like and subscribe.